In this video, we'll be learning about functions. So, a function is a type of relation where all terms in set A has only one image in set B. Only if this condition is satisfied, we can tell that a relation is a function. So, here we can see the first arrow diagram. So, terms A, B, C, D have only one image in set B, which is 2, 3, 4 and 5 respectively. So, this can be told that this is a function because all terms has only one image in the set B. Coming to the second image, we see that A has two images in set B while the other terms has only one image. Since A has two images in set B, we cannot tell this is a function. So this is not a function because A has two images in it. Even if one term has two images in set B, then we cannot say that it is a function. Coming to the third image, we see that A and B have the same image. C and D have different images here. This can be told that this is a function because even though A and B have the same image, it is only one image. A is not linked to any other number apart from 1. B is also not linked to any other number apart from 1. Since they have only one image in set B, this is a function. Coming to the last image here, we see that A, B, C all have one image in set B, but D is not linked to any term in set B. Since D has been left out and is not linked to any term in set B, this is not a function because every term in set A should be linked to one term in set B. D is left out here, so this cannot be told that this is a function. So now we'll see how to represent a function mathematically. We have f of a is equal to b, where f is defined from set A to set B. The small a shows that all terms are from set A and small b shows that all terms are from set B. So when we apply the function a on all the terms in set A, we get the image which is a part of set B. So in terms of x and y, we can write it as f of x is equal to y. So from this definition of function, we can say that B is an image of A, and opposite to this, A is a pre-image of B. See, we already learnt in relations that all the terms from the second set are an image of the first terms from the first set. So opposite to this, we can say that terms from the first set is a pre-image of the terms in the second set. Next, there are two types of functions. There are real valued function and real function. So a function is said to be real valued function when you have range is equal to all real numbers. So if we have a function where range is equal to all real numbers, then we can say that that function is a real valued function. A function is a real function where both range and domain belong to set R or all set of all real numbers. So function is said to be real function when both range and domain of the function is a part of the set relations. So now we'll be going through few standard functions present in this chapter. So the first such function is an identity function. So this function is defined for real numbers, where f is defined from a set of real numbers to real numbers. So this is represented as y is equal to f of x, which is equal to x. So here we can see that y and x have the same value, or we can say that they are equal to one another. Since they are equal to one another, the name of the function is identity function. For such a function, the domain and range is both real numbers, because whatever value we put for x, that will be the same value for y as well. So the domain and range will be same. So the graph of such equation will be as shown here. So we'll have a diagonal line which is going through the origin. So the second function is a constant function. This function is again defined for real numbers, and the function is given as y is equal to f of x, which is equal to c. C is any constant value. So we see that for any given value of x, the value of y does not change, which is equal to a constant number. So the domain is R. Since the function is defined to real numbers, the domain is also real numbers. The range is equal to c because the value of y is not changing for any given value of x. So the range of the function is the constant value c. So if we take a look at the graph, we see that the graph is a line parallel to x-axis at the distance of c. So if the value of c is 2, then the line will be 2 units above the x-axis. If the value of c is 3, the line will be 3 units above the x-axis. This is what the graph tells us. So the next standard function is a polynomial function which is defined again for real numbers. So the function is represented as y is equal to f of x, where f of x is equal to a naught plus a1x plus a2x square plus a3x cube, so on till an x bar n. So this is nothing but a naught, a1, a2, a3 are all constant values which are all real numbers. This can be 1, 2, root 2, root 3, 5 or any fraction. So a1, a2, a3 can be any numbers which belong to real numbers, and we see that the power of x goes on increasing. So we have x to the power 1 here, x square, x cube, so on till x power n. So n can only belong to natural numbers. We cannot have any fraction or decimal powers for x. It should always be a natural number. So the domain of the function belongs to real number, since x can take the value of any real number. Range is not defined because range of the function varies on all the values which takes here. So the range for different polynomial functions will be different. So let's see two examples here. So we have f of x is equal to x power 4 plus root 2x. So we see that a naught and a2 are here real numbers, which is root 2 and 1, and we see that x has powers of natural numbers. We have 4 here and we have x power 1 here. So we can say that this is a polynomial function. Here we see that we have x to the power 1 by 3 plus 2x. We see that a naught and a1 are 1 and 2, but here we see that the power of x is a fraction, which is 1 by 3. The power of x cannot be a fraction or any decimal, so this is not a polynomial function. So the next function is a rational function. A rational function is a function defined over real numbers, where we have y is equal to f of x divided by g of x. So a rational function is where we have two functions where one function divides another, but we have to take note that g of x cannot take the value 0. If g of x take the value of 0, then that is not a rational function. So from this we can say that domain of x can be anything. It can be natural numbers, real numbers, whole numbers, anything, but we have to keep in mind that g of x cannot be equal to 0. If g of x is equal to 0, then this function is not defined. That is the only condition that has to be followed to get a rational function. An example of this is, we can take f of x is equal to 1 by x. We see that the domain can be natural numbers, but we have to exclude the value 0 here, because if we put x is equal to 0, we get the value as 1 by 0, which is not defined. So the domain of this for this example is all real numbers except 0, and this is an example of rational function. One is a constant function and x is a identity function. So once we have that in a fraction form, we get a rational function. So the next function is a modulus function. This is also defined for real numbers, which is represented as y is equal to f of x, which is equal to x in between two lines. So this symbol is the symbol for modulus function. So modulus function is represented with two straight lines. So if we look into detail, we see that f of x will be equal to x if x is greater than or equal to 0, and f of x will be equal to minus x if x is less than 0. So to understand this, let's take an example. So if you have x is equal to 1, then y will be 1 between two straight lines, which is equal to 1. So since 1 is positive, we have to take f of x value as x. So x is 1. So if we take x is equal to minus 1, which is nothing but y is equal to minus 1 in the two straight lines, we have to take it as minus of minus 1. So according to the function, if f of x is negative, f of x is less than 0 or negative, we have to take it as minus x. So we have minus x. So 1 into 1, we get it as plus 1. So we see that in modulus function, for any value, the answer will be a positive number. So for 1, we got the answer as 1. For minus 1, we got the answer as plus 1. So this is the modulus function, which gives us a positive number irrespective of what the value of x is. So similarly, see the graph here. For all positive values of x, we see that the y is positive, and for all negative values of x also, the y is positive. So we get the graph in the shape of a V. So the next function is a signum function. Signum function is also defined for real numbers. So it is represented as y is equal to f of x, where f of x is equal to 1 for all values x greater than 0. F of x takes the value of minus 1 for all values x less than 0. And f of x takes the value of 0 if x is equal to 0. So in this graph, we see that for all values more than greater than 1, we see that y takes the value of 1. For all values less than 0 of x equal to less than 0, we say that y is equal to minus 1. So we have two circles here showing that this line considers all the values of x apart from 0. Similarly here, and when y is equal to 0, we see that the value y takes is 0. When x is equal to 0, y is equal to 0. This is the signum function. So the next function is greatest integer function. This function also is defined for all real numbers. So it is represented as y is equal to f of x, where x is written between two squared brackets. So the domain of the function is R. So what this function is, if you take x as any value greater than or equal to minus 1 or less than 0. So if you take any value of x between minus 1 and less than 0, it is not equal to 0 but can be equal to minus 1, we'll get that y is equal to minus 1. So whichever integer it is equal to, so that is the value it will take. For example, if we take x is equal to minus 0.5, we will get y as minus 1. Or if we take x as minus 0.75, we will get the value of y still 1. So any value between minus 1 and 0, y will take the value of minus 1. So similarly, if we take any value of x between 2 and 1, so y will be equal to 1. So whatever integer is before the value of x, that is the integer value y will take. So this is the greatest integer function. So we'll take a look at the graph of the equation. So if y takes any value between 1 and 2, so you see that any value between 1 and 2, the value of y will be 1. So any value between 1 and 2 except 2, the value of y will be 1. So if we take any value between 2 and 3 excluding 3, the value of y will be 2, and so on. So any value between these two numbers, it will take the greatest integer before it. So this is the greatest integer function. So the next topic is algebra of functions. Here we'll learn how to add, subtract, divide and multiply two or more functions. So the first operation is addition. So if we have one function f defined in real numbers and another function g defined in real numbers, then the addition of both functions f plus g should also be defined in real numbers. If of two functions satisfy this given condition, then we can say that f plus g of x is equal to f of x plus g of x. So this equation holds good only if f is defined in real numbers, g is defined in real numbers, and f plus g is also defined in real numbers. If at least one of these conditions is not satisfied, then we can say that this condition does not hold true. So it is mandatory that all three conditions are satisfied for this equation to hold true. So the next operation is subtraction. Again, similar to addition, the function f should be defined in real numbers, the function g should be defined in real numbers, and the difference of two functions f minus g should also be defined in real numbers. If all these three conditions are satisfied, then we can say that f minus g of x is equal to f of x minus g of x. So the next operation is multiplication. So in multiplication we have two types. The first type is multiplication of a scalar quantity. A scalar quantity is nothing but a constant value, which is like 1, 2, 3 or any value. So for this example, we'll consider the scalar value to be alpha. So if we have a function f defined in real number, then we can say that f alpha of f for x is equal to alpha into f of x. So this tells us that the constant value can be multiplied after solving the function or before solving the function. The multiplication of scalar quantity before the function or after or inside the function or outside the function does not affect the final value of the function. The second type of multiplication is multiplication of two functions. So if you have function f defined in real number, function g defined for real numbers, and the product of two functions, that is f into g defined for real numbers, then we can say that f into g of x is equal to f of x into g of x. So the next operation is division. So we have if you have one function f defined in real numbers, another function g defined in real numbers, and f divided by g defined in real numbers, so then we can tell that f by g of x is equal to f of x by g of x. But another extra condition which we have to remember here is g of x cannot be equal to 0. If g of x is equal to 0, then this term here will become undefined. So that is one thing we have to keep in mind while doing division of two functions.